Hello, it's April 24th, 2022, and it's been a rough week for legends in hockey. Just a few days after we lost Mike Bossy, one of the great goal scorers of all time, we find that Guy Lafleur, one of his peers, both of whom did things that had never been done before, and in the case of Mike Bossy, still haven't been matched in terms of what he has done during his career. And Mike Bossy was only 65, and Guy Lafleur was 70. And Mike Bossy apparently died of lung cancer. Guy Lafleur, it didn't say, but I know he did have lung cancer and had returned, so I assume that's the case. And we hear about athletes dying young, and sort of that throws a spoke into what we often think about in terms of fitness and health. Shouldn't these people who were the fittest people on the planet almost, playing hockey at the highest level, outlive us all? Now, I know that Guy Lafleur was known apparently to be a smoker. There's even stories, whether they're true or not, that he actually smoked cigarettes on the bench at times. And I don't know whether that's the case for Mike Bossy or not. So I can't and won't speculate on the cause of their death. But based on some of my previous entries I've made on sports versus recreation, there's something about sports and fitness and health that we assume, erroneously, I'm going to suggest, that the two are synonyms. As a matter of fact, at really high levels, I've heard Peter Attia talk about the fact that really high level cyclists are often more prone to atrial fibrillation than their less fit counterparts. And I'm going to share my screen again, and I'm going to share my screen a book that was written by Doug McGuff. He talks about body by science. And one of the chapters is defining health, fitness, and exercise. And it's interesting that those terms, everybody assumes they are self-evident. Health and fitness often are taken as synonyms. But in fact, I'm just going to read some things here from the book. And this goes back to what I was saying about the danger of thinking about exercise and sports together. So this starts here about the guy who first ran the first marathon back in the days of Romans and whatnot. He followed an additional 26 miles from Marathon to Athens to announce a Greek victory. And when he reached Athens, he proclaimed, depending upon which ancient historian read, either Nike or victory or be happy, we have won. Regardless, the ending to his tale is the same. He then fell to his ground death. So in that first run, completed the equivalent of back-to-back ultramarathons, doing more than 200 kilometers. So then you've heard about author and running guru Jim Fixx suffered a host of ailments that are not compatible with long-term health and survival. So the scientific literature, as the book says, is filled with data to strongly make the case that long-distance runners are much more likely to develop cardiovascular disease, atrial fibrillation, cancer, liver and gallbladder disorders, muscle damage, kidney dysfunction. So correct modality of exercise, health and fitness can in fact track along together, at least to a point. However, simply performing physical activity, I'm just going to go back here. See, I'm going to jump ahead here. Forgive me for being a little disjointed. Rather than food paucity, there's a food abundance and labor-saving technology. And so there's been a compromise in our health that the exact opposite of problem that the endurance athlete faces. That is, there's now a huge portion of the population whose physical activity is of such low intensity and quantity that catabolism doesn't occur to any meaningful extent. which means it has been assumed that physical activity is responsible for health enhancement. Well, when you're doing any muscular effort from a near sedentary state to a level slightly closer to what our species DNA has encoded over tens of thousands of years, and which has changed significantly fast forward, by no means, people believe there's a constant linear relationship between fitness and health, or akin to the person who decides to measure water levels while standing on the beach. He takes the first measurement at low tide, and then he assumes that tide will come over, the world will suddenly be underwater. So this is when we think increased activity. So, and we talk about extreme endurance athletes, but hockey players are playing 85, and if they make the playoffs, 100, 120 games a year. So the rigors in their training. So one thing that quickly becomes apparent from studying the literature on overly active groups, such as extreme endurance athletes, and I would say hockey players probably, is in their quest to achieve higher and higher tiers of dominance in their field by extending their physical activity level to its limit. It is entirely possible and probable that the methods they typically employ in their training, combined with the rigors of long competitive seasons like in hockey, will result in serious compromises in their health and extend and shorten lifespans. So this just goes back to, I'm going to stop sharing, more is not better. So as I've gotten older, I've come to realize that Goldilocks was one of the wisest things. Too little is not good. Too much is not good. You want to find the amount of exercise, proper exercise that you can do that will create a stress to your body that your body is able to handle, adapt to, and improve from, and then not do any more than that, because any more than that simply creates wear and tear in the body and comes back to haunt you in the long run. So a bit of a disjointed entry, but hopefully it makes some sense for you.